Hello everybody and welcome to My Hero Academia chapter 343 review. This chapter is titled Let You Down. Now, last time we covered chapter 342, could you believe it? And that chapter was all focusing on the final sort of hurrah, the final sort of live your life chapter before the big war. It was really just Uraraka and Deku having a moment and then just cutting around to everyone just to see what they're up to before things get started. And it ended with All For One saying, "It is time." In this chapter, we start in what seems to be a flashback to the previous day before All For One said that. And he is sitting in what looks to be his hideout in a dark chair, and he's saying, "Lies do not work on me. When a person possesses even the slightest malicious intent towards me, I know." What was the name of that quirk again? It came to me in that early period during the advent of the exceptional. I combined it with other quirks to boost its efficiency, but all the specifics are a bit fuzzy. I think its original owner was dull disappointment of a man, though his descendant did much better for himself. Through the same twist of fate, they wound up working with All Might to threaten me. But this time, that very quirk will bring about my victory. And we see he's on a phone call now, saying, "That's right, nothing new on our end," and he's thinking, "There's no greater joy when sown seeds at last bear fruit. I'm hankering for a drink, perhaps a 40-year Macallan." And then somebody says, "How about one aged 16 years? Our son could deliver it to you." And he says, "Sounds perfect. Could I please have your son's contact info? Just leave nothing to chance." And we see it's Aoyama's parents talking, and they say, "Of course, uncle, a necessity in these modern times." And he says, "How true," as he thinks, "No lies or ill will. She's clean. I can let them go about their business, and even if they're interrogated later, they'll pose no threat to me. We've engaged in this ridiculous coded conversation to foil anyone who may be listening in, but that ends after today." And Aoyama's parents say, "Tomorrow then?" as All For One says, "Yes, indeed." And then we cut to what seems to be the present, as we see Aoyama has called Deku somewhere, and Aoyama's on the phone, and he says, "Thank you for coming." As Deku says, "Why are you out here, Aoyama? Weren't you being detained?" And he says, "My parents' lawyer got me released." And Deku says, "I gotta tell everyone we can rejoin this search effort," and Aoyama says, "Wait, I'd like to speak to you." It's almost funny that the courts and the legal system still exist, despite Japan being in ruins. With society as it is now, would old ways of living really get you anywhere? And Deku's like, "What do you mean, Aoyama?" And Aoyama says, "Let me tell you All For One's real goal. With the state in Japan's in, you know what would become of the rest of the world? When the sudden crash in the value of yen forced Japanese corporations into bankruptcy, plus that coordinated uprisings of villains caused more damage to spread worldwide. Now the world faces a crisis much like the Great Depression, or the period around the advent of quirks, record unemployment, loss of faith in currencies, and a total era of chaos. While the nations who've been abandoned in Japan prioritize their own safety, lacking the strength to implement long-term policies, Japan's society devolves into scrambling of short-term safety. In such a world, imagine a country lacking potable water. Imagine if a quirk capable of producing that water were suddenly to appear, or electricity, or gas, or strength. As the world is plunged into the state of chaotic decline, we suddenly have an arena ripe for a certain remarkable individual to take that initiative. He would become the world's arbiter, its very own demon lord." And Aoyama says he only had to rock that balance somewhere. It didn't matter how, as Deku says, I don't think so. The world would never go along with that. Besides, the world still has us, as Aoyama says true, which is why it all has to end here. I'm sorry. Alas, I had to protect Mom and Pop. As we see All for One descend from the sky behind Aoyama, as Aoyama is breaking into tears. And Deku screams, "All for One!" And All for One goes, "Splendidly done, Yuga Aoyama. How terrifying it must have been to turn on your own friend like this. How heart-trending to betray someone who has put their faith in you. But you overcame to peer and feign. And that speech about my ultimate goal, wonderful. Wrong in some of the details, but that's fine. Did your parents explain it all to you?" As he says, "Yes. They said you promised us a blessed existence in your new world." And Deku screams, "I believed in you, damn it." And Aoyama says, "My pain cannot be measured by that singular word, uncle," as he spins around and uses his naval laser quirk to strike All for One. And All for One says, "Ungrateful little." "But that was such a believable performance, Aoyama. I had no choice. Otherwise, I could have not lured him here." As we see that the whole idea of this was that Aoyama was tricking All for One into coming so you could lure him into a spot with all the other villains. So it was really just an acting game, which is an interesting thing to worry about. Only problem is, being of chapter, this lie detector quirk came. So, yeah, but let's continue with the chapter. And we see him just standing there, and Aoyama's like, "I must say, your acting was quite forceful as well," as Deku says. "I couldn't help it once your tears started flowing." "Ah, the tears are real. I truly am scared. In fact, I may think I've wet myself." And Aoyama says, "This is for Mom and Papa, for all my friends and for myself. I shall fight All for One." And he thinks, disappointing. How is this possible? I detected no lies, no ill will, neither when speaking to his parents or just him prior to this. So how? Well, it matters not. Trap or not, One for All is here within reach. The search quirk tells us the user and location and the weaknesses of those they see. And the heroes Tomura saw in the previous conflict are deployed and dispersed across the country. They will not make it in time to assist you. They didn't happen to notice that my people were drawing near, and now I'm afraid they're entirely too late." As we see everybody coming through the sludge warp quirk that he has, and we see a bunch of villains coming through. We of course see Shigaraki, a few Nomu, Toya, or Dabi, we see Toga, and we see some other villains that we've sort of seen in the past. As we see Aoyama saying, "Mama and Papa told me something else. They told me what it is you fear most, All for One. You fear the world learning that Japan isn't finished yet. You fear the light and hope that'll come with recovery. And you fear Japan inspiring the world to unite once more. So today is the day, and this is the place where you fall." As we see behind Deku and Aoyama, we see Kurogiri's warp quirk bringing all of the heroes here and now. And of course, we see the greats. We see Gang Orca. We see Mirko. We see Wash. We see Fat Gum. We see Nejire. We see Endeavor. We see Edgeshot. We see Tamaki. We see Sun Eater. We see everybody coming out and ready to fight the villains. And that's where the chapter ends. With the whole very nicely done 2 pages where it's the villains coming out of their work quirk and the heroes coming out of their work quirk. It is very good altogether. The worst part of this chapter is definitely the stupidness of the whole first page being about, "Oh man, All for One has this lie detecting quirk. Oh no, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? But Aoyama was deceiving him. Oh no." It's really stupid when you break it down, but it makes sense for the story. who knows, maybe there's a quirk devolution, and after getting passed around and having duplicates of quirks, that's how it works. I don't know. But yeah, that's this My Hero chapter 343. And this is Glowplasma231 signing out.